Welcome back to Tipping Point. I'm your host, Kara McKinney. There are a lot of German, Japanese, and Italian-made cars here on American streets, which, wow, if you told someone that back in 1942, actually, they would have thought that meant we were going to lose the Second World War. But anyway, you see those types of cars driving around a lot, but there's not many Chinese-made cars on our streets, and for good reason. The U.S. currently slaps such vehicles with a hefty 25% import duty, and overall trade between the U.S. and China is dropping to the tune of about 17% last year. That's both good and bad. As far as positive aspects go, we do need to diversify our trade and bring manufacturing and other supply chains back home. But on the downside, reduced trade typically is a sign of souring tensions. The Biden administration is doing at least one thing right in ordering yesterday an investigation into Chinese-made smart cars. The fear is that these cars are being made with technology that could allow Beijing to collect data on drivers and perhaps could allow them too much control over how those vehicles operate. Recall how last year a man in Scotland was driving one of these Chinese vehicles, which is sold under the British MG Marquet, when it became stuck at 30 miles an hour and basically kidnapped the poor terrified man. The cops had him throw his keys out the window. That didn't work. He tried forcibly turning off the engine by holding down the start button to no avail. Eventually, he had to perform a controlled crash into the back of a slow-moving police vehicle in order to get the car to stop. Biden's probably thinking to himself, these darn business partners of Hunter are always trying to steal our intellectual property. Don't they know that tracking drivers and adding kill switches to their cars is only for the U.S. Big Brother regime and its climate alarmist priestly class to do? And while we are on this topic, isn't it strange how Biden is going to do this big show of investigating Chinese-made smart cars, which aren't really being bought and sold here in large numbers because, hey, again, heavy import duties, but he's simultaneously ignoring the very obvious threat right here under his nose on his doorstep, as in the Chinese nationals illegally pouring into our country because of Biden's open border. It would seem to me that he will take the performative action of pretending to investigate a really non-existent national security threat so that he can pretend to be doing something, when in actuality he's appeasing his Chinese communist backers by not addressing the lucrative elephant in the room. Our next guest tonight writes about this in the pages of the Washington Examiner in a new piece titled, Biden Fiddles While China Invades. Joining us now to discuss is Dr. Shea Bradley Farrell, the president of the Counterpoint Institute. Dr. Shea, thanks for being here tonight.
Hi, Kara. Thanks for having me. It's a very important topic, and barely our administration and barely our Congress is focusing on it.
But I'm glad that you are focusing on it. So you note that at least 113,000 Chinese nationals have entered this country illegally just under Biden alone. And you put it into military terms in your article to just really show us the context. So how much is that in perhaps military terms?
Yeah, it's 7 U.S. Army infantry divisions, or in terms of the People's Liberation Army from China, it's 22 of their combined arms brigades. And the reason that this is important is that witnesses on the ground, I being one of them, are telling us throughout the U.S. that these are military-aged men. And we know from Homeland Security Committee that some of them coming in do have ties to the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, as well as their army, the PLA. So this is not a conspiracy theory or an alarm. In fact, 3 or 4 weeks ago, a group of senior FBI officials actually sent a letter to Congress saying that they believe that what we're talking about today, is a new and imminent danger to our homeland security. And that looking at it, and remember that these are officials that are well-versed, decades and decades of experience in terrorism, but looking at where they are going, it looks to them like a strategically planned, in their words, invasion, Kara.